Us. Hope everybody been having a good week. Ain't been on here in a while, man. Feel like I ain't been on in a while, boy. Guess captivity being captivity. But we're gonna Lord willing, we're gonna make it through it though. Uh just kinda looking at ain't on New Year's, supposed to be a day New Year's, which is not a New Year's. And how they ain't got no understanding. That's why a lot of time. Even the Israelites, what we teach, they can't comprehend it, and it makes it harder for them. So this is what the rubber, what you call, say, rubber meets the road. Rubber meets the road. Shalom, 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 shalom. Let me see. Yes, sir. Still like it, man. Like you say, man, we looking at this ain't dang on New Year's supposed to be a New Year's, but a lot of time, our brothers and sisters, man, uh they ain't got enough understanding about what's going on. That's why you can give in to a pagan holiday. Or even like you say, I done been in situations that shoot, I've been in the store and they get to playing a Christmas song. And if you ain't careful, you'll be singing that mug too. All right. Watch this. We kind of touch on this, man, but we also got to make sure that we have enough discernment to know this ain't for us, right? So this is why antennas, our spiritual antennas, supposed to be going up in the air, right? It's a heavy chapter, but I ain't gonna go too deep in it. But I'm gonna touch on it though. The book of Isaiah, chapter 35, and verse 1. The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice, and the block and blossom is the rose. So it's saying the desert gonna blossom as the rose, right? Plain as a family. All right. Shalom, shalom. Uh, but I'm gonna tell you a lot of time when you explain this to the family, man, it'd be hard for people to comprehend that thing though, right? And this is, and this shall blossom abundant and rejoice and rejoice even with the joy of singing, and the glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it, and the excellence of Carmel and Sharon, they shall see the glory of the Lord and the excellence of our God. Strength, strengthen ye the weak hands and confirm the feeble knees. Cause guess what? In these times, right? Guess what? This is what we got to do. We got to be strengthening the weak hands and confirming the feeble knees, right? Because sometimes we can fall into those gaps of with the family, or we can fall into those things. You got to be grounded, man. So when a lot of times when brothers still staying grounded, they can fall by those things, man. I see this the precept to that. The book of Job, chapter 4 and verse 34. Behold, thou hast instructed many, and thou hast strengthened the weak hands. Thy word have upholden him that was fallen, and that thou hast strengthened the feeble knees. Right. This is what we trying to get ourselves to be get our knees on our hands. This so we won't be so like so we won't be giving in to those things, man. Right. Uh be brothers be out there like counting down like it's no, you shouldn't be out there doing all that. Right. It's time for brothers and sisters, like really to make a division, right? Draw the line in the fence. Oh, if I'm gonna go here, if I'm gonna go there, right? This is what the Lord expecting us to do, right? So that's why we got to make sure that not only strengthening our hands, but we want to make sure that we strengthening our spirits, strengthening our understanding, strengthening our because one thing about mama. One thing I learned about mama, one thing you learned about brothers and sisters, guess what? We could talk to mama all day, we could talk to brothers and sisters all day long, but they got to want to do it too. Like when Christ went by and he was healing everybody, what was the main thing Christ asking them? Do you believe? Right? Let's go back to Isaiah chapter 35. Excuse me, in verse 4. Say to them that are of a fearful heart. Be strong and fear not. Behold, your God will come with you with vengeance, even God with a recompense, and he will come and save you. So this is what we trying to make sure that we get, because we want the Lord to come to redeem us out of things, man. Right? That's the reason why, even if you got a brother, if y'all sisters, y'all living with people, whatever they going on, and if you staying with somebody, if you not staying with somebody, if you got mama with you, or you living in your mama house or whatever, you got to make sure that you don't be the one that's stepping out and trying to make everybody. And guess what? Even if your family don't want to hear, you can't keep on just saying over and over and over again. Okay, just make your stance and move out the way. Right? It's the book of Romans, chapter 12. Uh Romans chapter 12, verse 17. Recompense to no man evil for evil, right? You can't go back evil for evil because they want to choose to do evil. Right? It says recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. And this is what the Lord expecting us to do. Especially when we're dealing with our families and our friends and the people that we love. Like the Lord told us to provide things honest in the sight of all men, right? I mean, hey, let your yea be yea and nay be nay. You know what I'm saying? So, verse 18, if it be possible, as much as is lied in you, live peaceably with all men. This is what we need to be trying to do. Getting ourselves together so we can be at peace. Right? Because a lot of time brothers and sisters don't understand about living at peace with people. But the same peace that we trying to look for, this is this is not the peace of what the world talking about. I just want my peace. That's not what the world. That's not what the Bible is going into. The peace of the world. No, no. The Lord, the Lord is talking about. It says, verse 18. If it is possible, as much as is lied in you, live peaceably with all men. Right? Watch this. The book of Second Thessalonians, chapter 3 and verse 16. Now the Lord of peace, now the Lord of peace himself giving you peace always by all means, and the Lord will be with you all. This is where we get our peace from, right? This is not the peace, oh, I just want my peace. No, the Lord give us peace. This is where our peace come from. This is where our comfort come from. All these things is coming from the scriptures, man. John chapter 16, verse 33. These things have I spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. This is what Christ saying. He said, these are the things that I have spoken unto you, that ye might, that ye, so I can. I have spoken unto you that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. So if Christ telling us that he can do, why do you think he came down in the flesh, man? The Lord sent him, our God sent him in the flesh to make sure, guess what? That he can understand about the fleshly side of things and knowing what to come back to cover up for the people, man. Right? This is uh watch this. The book of Isaiah, book of Isaiah, chapter 26. Isaiah chapter 26. That's Proverbs. Chapter 26 and verse 3. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee, right? Because he trusted in thee, right? This is when we, this is what we get even going into talking about our Lord and Savior Yahweh, right? Trust ye in the Lord forever. For in the Lord Yahweh is everything strengthened, right? This is where our peace come from. This is where our strength come from, right? This is how we make sure that we keep ourselves in a prosperous manner. This is why we keep ourselves in the right frame of mind, right? Knowing that, like you say, knowing all these holidays coming up, man, and the thing is, uh, it's so the thing is, don't think that it's gonna be all peaches and cream because it ain't how the Lord's setting this thing up. The Lord never set it up for uh peaches and cream. You got to think about this. You got to think about this. How the Most High God is setting this world up. He's setting it up to bring it down. He's not setting this world up to be raising it up. No, he has to bring everything low, right? To build it back up. Brother, sister, meditate on that, man. The book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 34. This is what Christ said. This is what the Lord said that he has to do. This is what the Lord said he has to come do. He said, he said, think not that I come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. Shalaki. So this is why did he say he had to send a sword? He said he has to send a sword because he has to send a message to the people. He's not sending a sword just to be rinky dinky and just playing around. No, this ain't type of God we got. Right? Verse 35. For I have come to set a man at variance against his father, the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's foe shall be of his own household. What do you think is going on now? Right? What do you think is going on now? it's so many, it's so many people in this truth right now that they whole family's not in the truth. There's so many people in this truth that they battling their whole family trying to get them in the truth. But this ain't the word. This is the word that the Lord said we living in now. That's why when we get our peace, we get our peace. But when we read this is why peace come from. This is why our strength come from. This is how we grow. This is how we glory in this truth. Right? Shalom, Officer Berakaya. I'm on here a little late, man, but I'm on here. Also, kind of been on the little weather a little bit, man. I don't know, man, since I've been in Texas been back in Texas for a little minute. Uh, God dang on. I guess they chemtrailing the hell out of these skies up here, man. That dang on throat been itching like a mug. Been trying to shake it a little bit, all right? But this is why we don't, this is why the Lord said he come to come to bring us forward. That's why he said he got to bring everything now. Bring everything low. This ain't for no joke. He bringing these things low because he got to make sure everybody's in the right spirit, man. All right? Watch this. The book of First Peter, chapter 5 and verse 6. It said, humble yourself therefore under the mighty hands of God, that he may exalt you in due time. Right? Cast all your cares upon him, for he cared for you, right? Said drink chicken bone broth. That's pretty good. I might have to try it out, man. Might have to try that mug out. But it said, cast all your cares upon him, for he cared for you. This is why we got to make sure. This is how we come into the peace of the Lord. This is how we come into the more knowledge of the Lord, understanding the Lord, right? Uh, Watch this. It says, I like to try to go down a little bit, especially, reading this. He said, boil a cup of lemon, grapefruit, oranges, onions, honey. For me, okay. I'm ready to try all of it, man. I'm telling you, I ain't just like super sick, but it's like I got an itchy. My throat just been itching like a mug, man. But I ain't gonna lie, man. Shoot, I had went back to Arkansas for some days. Man, I ain't gonna lie, I probably was sick 2 or 3 of the days I was there. Shit, I'm talking about in the bed sick too. But it was just like I had some shakes, like a cold shake. Right? But yeah, verse 8, it says, "Be sober." It said, be vigilant." It's verse 8. It said, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour." Because we know that spirit is out on the earth. We know the spirit is out on the earth. That this is what Satan is about, right? Yeah, weather can man, don't we know it? And the thing is, like even dealing with the weather, uh uh even dealing with the weather, you gotta think like this too. Um, it ain't no guarantee. Like you say, dealing with the weather, it ain't no guarantee that you can that it ain't no guarantee that it'll be 40 today, 60 tomorrow, 90. Because then we in Texas, man, man, look, you can be 40 degrees a day, and then tomorrow you wake up, it be 95 degrees. All right. Yeah, they said, well, the change damn shouldn't do that, man. Dang, what it was. This weather show change. What it mug at? Let me see. But the scriptures also let us know a little bit, let us know a little bit about that weather too, though. Watch this. This is how the scriptures let us know about the weather. Watch this. It says the book of Job, chapter 37 and verse 6. For he that said to the snow, be thou on the earth, likewise the small rain and the great rain of his strength. This is the Almighty telling the earth, like when he's speaking. When the Lord speak it, he speaking to the weather, and the weather does his thing. Watch this. I'm gonna jump up. The book of Job, chapter 37, and verse 1. He said, "At this also my heart trembled as it moved out of his place. Hear attentively the noise of the voice and the sound that goeth out of his mouth." He said, listen, he said, listen to this, how the Lord speaks out of his mouth. Watch this. He directed under the whole heavens, and his lightning unto the ends of the earth. After after it a voice roared. He thundered with the voice of his excellent, and he will stay with them when his voice is heard, right? So he stays with the thunder. So it's like the something was savoring it like the thunder crack across the sky. The Lord literally make the thunder cracks across the sky, right? Verse 5 said, God thunders marvelously with his voice. Great things doeth he, which we cannot comprehend, right? So we can't comprehend the great things because we literally when we first was hearing that thing that we found out that there was the Most High God doing it. We didn't even want the Lord to even say, to do that around us. Watch this. Give you an example. The book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 18. And all the people saw the thunder and the lightning and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off. Hey, you in the water. He said they removed far off. And they said to Moses, speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not God speak with us, lest we die. So they already, at this time, they already knew too. They said, They said, Moses, you speak with us. Don't let the Lord speak with us because we'll die. Right? Verse 20. And Moses said unto the people, fear not, for God is come to prove you that his fear may be before your face, that ye sin not. Right? So this is how, guess what? Even in the storms that we go through, when you see the wind beating vehemently against against what? Against your life, metaphorically, right? When you beat to see the wind beating against our lives, right? So we go back to verse Job chapter 37, verse 5. And God thundered marvelously with his voice. The great thing doeth he, which we cannot comprehend. So we can't comprehend because we don't want to. Who's gonna stand out there in the midst of the lightning and thunder and try to, oh, okay, Lord, what you talking about? No, you're not gonna do all that. When you hear that, if you getting out your car, the thunder and lightning start, the thunder and lightning around you, guess what you gonna do? You gonna take your butt out and you gonna be straight running toward the house. Everybody do it. I don't care who you are. Older people, they do it. They be like, oh, get me in the inside. Yeah, you better take your butt in the inside. Verse 6, 37, verse 6. But for he said to the snow, be thou on the earth. And this is how so the Lord speaking, snow is go on the earth. Get what the snow gonna do. Likewise to the small rain and to the great rain for his strength. When he gives when he gives that call, it's gonna do it. Right? He sealed up the hands of every man that all men may know his works. Right? Just give you an example. It sealed up the hands that all men may know his works. Give a small example. A small example. Watch this. Uh this is how the Lord says he sealed up our hands that we can know it works. Sometimes, like when you see the sun coming up, you can kind of judge how the weather gonna be, right? Because sometimes when the sun don't come up, I mean, sometimes when you can't see the sun and you see nothing but clouds, even if you didn't watch the weather channel, you can kind of gauge that it might rain, right? Matthew chapter 16 and verse 2, verse 1. The Pharisee also and the Sadducee came tempting and desiring him that he would show them a sign from heaven. So they were asking Christ to show them a sign from heaven. This is the Pharisees and the Sadducees asking Christ to show them a sign from heaven, right? Verse 2, and he answered and said unto them, when this evening ye shall say it would be fair weather, for the sky is red. So everybody knows when the sun's starting to go down, the sky does what? It makes a pinkish reddish color, right? Right? And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering, right? Meaning what? It might the sky turn to a pinkish red when it comes up. And he said lowering means it has low clouds, right? Oh, ye hypocrites, ye cannot discern the face of the sky, but he said ye can discern the face of the sky, but cannot discern the signs of the time, right? A wicked and adulterous generation after a sign, and there shall no sign be given unto it, but the signs of the prophet Jonas. And he left them and departed. Right? And this is what Christ was saying. Even scribes and Pharisees, you can look at the sky, look at these different things, but they couldn't even discern. They couldn't even discern just the the signs of the time, meaning what you can't see what's going around. Just like we looking at this wicked New Year's coming in, man. The Lord never ordained it, but people, guess what, in their mind, this is what is it. Guess what? Even in our jobs, we got to go. Okay. 2026, guess what? On our paperwork, when we write it down, guess what? We got to write it down. 2026, right? Because this is our captivity. But is this our New Year? No, it's not. That's why the Lord said you can discern the skies and the weather and stuff, but you can't even discern the time. And this is what the Lord trying to get us to see, to be able to discern the times, right? Uh Verse 8, Job chapter 37, verse 8. Shalaki, then the beasts go into the dens and remain in their place, right? So you see, when the Lord commands the snow to come down, the beasts go in their dens in the land and he said, and they remain in their place. Verse 9, out of the south cometh whirlwinds. So that means what? Out of the south come whirlwind. I mean, you see tornadoes hit. That wind comes from the what? It come from the south or from the ocean. This is why when you say hurricane season, you see hurricanes and these different winds, they come from what? It comes from the south. That's what the scripture tells us that it does. Watch this. And cold out of the north. So when this earth get cold, guess what happens? The cold comes from the north wind and it blows down to the south. Just try to help brothers and sisters out. If you want to know, if you want to know how weather goes, we got meteorology right here. Job chapter 37. And this is verse 9. It says, out of the south cometh whirlwinds, meaning what? Tornadoes and hurricanes come from the south. You'll see them moving throughout the nations because it came from the south, right? If you want to know how it get cold, that winds come from the north. Why you think the whole earth is cooling off? Because that north wind is blowing cold, cold. Why do you think up north weather is colder than down south weather? You can look right now what it say. Let's see the weather. I can look right now and see what's the weather. So so the weather here is 39 degrees. Let's go up north. Let's pick like a place like, let's say Chicago. See, Chicago, 27. Let's go further north than it. Let's go Ontario. Let's go to Ontario, Canada. This see Chicago 27. Watch this. Ontario, Canada. Watch this. -6. The farther you go up, the colder it gets during the winter. That's why the north weather is way colder than the south weather. That's why they go from that point. Why the weather goes down. And this explains it because the Lord literally brings it. That's why when he said, let the snow hit the ground, the Lord literally put his spirit on the earth and the snows hits the ground. The Lord literally put his spirits on the earth and the whirlwinds and the hurricanes and tornadoes they come through because they come from like I say, come from the south for the hurricanes and tornadoes. They come from the cold and the snow, all they come from the north. Right, this verse 10. By the breath of God, frost is given, and by the breath of water, and he said, the frost is given, and the breath of the water is strength, is straightened. So the breath of the water, so it means like when you see frost on the ground, it comes from water, right? And he said that's why I say it's strength. Also by the watering of he that is wearied with a thick cloud, he scattered his clouds, right? So like it said, also by watering, he wearied the thick cloud. He scattered his bright cloud, right? And is turned around about by his counsel. They that they may do whatsoever he command them upon the face of the world in the earth. Well, sister better make sure you had that one. You know I got to put it. You know how sometimes you be reading something, you got to put that with that. Yeah, you got to put that with that. Yes, sir. Got to have it with that. Let me see if my sister called that. Right. So it says. Verse 12 is heavy, and he said, and it is turned around about by his counsel. So when the Lord put the weather out there, the cold weather, it comes back by his counsel. Meaning what? He says it's time to return. All right. This is what the Lord say. So that's the reason why, just like them having a New Year's, that's why the Lord said they think that they can think to change time, but the Lord makes it plain what the time it is. Why do you think that Solomon knew the alteration of the sun? Right, meaning the turning of the sun. Meaning what makes the sun go hot and what makes the sun go cold. Right, it's something literally, like you said, uh, like you said, you see, uh, like you see, what you call it, uh. You'll see Solomon, like all the wisdom Solomon had, you'll see like he had like wisdom of everything. But a lot of the wisdom that we can get, a lot of wisdom that understand we get it from the Bible, man. Watch this. It says, I'm finna jump down. Okay, okay, I'm finna jump down. Uh verse verse 17. It says, no, verse 16. Doest thou know the balancing of the clouds and the wondrous works of him which is perfect in knowledge? How thy garments are warm, and how thy garments are warm when he quiet the earth by the south wind, right? He said how he quiet the earth, meaning what? The calm before the storm, right? Thinking what? If anybody ever, I know I grew up and I done lived through a tornado before. If you ever knew what the tornado, I guess what, it'll be sirens, be raining, and all of a sudden it just get quiet. The next thing you know, it go, boom. That's how a tornado hit. That's how it hit our house when I was a little boy. It hit our house just like it was quiet at first. That's why I say had how the south wind had quiets the whole earth. The whole earth, guess what? Because it's waiting on the next command or what the Lord's gonna do. Just how the Lord, that's why he perfect in his ways, man. Right? Verse 17, how thy garments are warm when he quiet the earth by the south wind. Right? Verse 18, he said, hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong and is a molten looking glass. Because that's how the Lord look on it. This is the looking glass. He can see down here, but we see up in the third heaven? No, we can't see down. The Lord spread the sky like a cloud, man. Right? He calls this thing like a looking glass, man. Right? Yeah. And watch this, verse 19. Teach us what we shall say unto him, for we cannot order our speech by reason of darkness. Verse 20. Shall it be told him that I speak? If a man speak, surely he shall be swallowed up. Right? Meaning what? What can you speak against the Lord's work? If you speak what you're gonna be getting, the Lord said you can get swallowed up playing around, right? Verse 21. And now men, see not the bright light which is in the cloud, but the wind passeth and cleanseth them. Right? So, okay. It says, see not the bright light that was in the cloud. Bright light, see not the bright light which is in the cloud, but the wind passeth and cleanseth them. Meaning what? When you have a lot of clouds, say when you have a lot of clouds in the sky, what makes the clouds go away? The wind blows and it cleans the sky. Just like even when they chemtrail. What happens when they chemtrail? The Lord shows his strength by what you see. The sky can be full of chemtrail, and you'll see all those chemtrails get what? Wiped away. By what? By the winds. Right? Verse 22. It says, fair weather coming out of the north, which with God is terrible majesty. So he said, fair weather coming out of the north, meaning what? Not the warm, it be the coolness, right? Comes out of the north, right? And it said, with God is a terrible majesty, right? Meaning what? This is when the time that the mean season hits, right? Meaning was when it said a terrible majesty. It's why the Lord called it in when you read in excuse Shalaki. That's why the Lord called it when you read in Maccabean. That's why the Lord called it the mean season there. And the reason why the Lord called it the mean season, because it's a terrible majesty. All right. Get a count. Let's see if I can find one of the mean seasons. Excuse me. Shalaki. Shalaki. Okay. Shalaki. See if I can get that right quick. Yeah, this season has been mean as hell, man. I'm talking about, boy, this season been mean, man. Okay, ain't letting up either, boy. Yes, it's not letting up, man. But guess what, man? We keep them prayers to the sky, man. Got to always keep them prayers to the sky, man. Hoping that the Lord let us endure these things, man. I'm talking about let us straight endure. First Maccabees chapter 4 in verse, okay, in verse 5. Big con, it says, in the mean season came Gorgias by night into the camp of Judas, and when he found no man, he sought them in the mountains, and for he said, these fellows flee from us. So they was trying to say that Maccabees were fleeing, or Maccabees them had an assault that he was going to put on them. And man said, you look young, but the beard. You know how many times people done told me that? Said, you look young, but the beard gray. I guess it's just how it be. All praise to the Most High. Right. But that mean season, like you say, but that mean season and that terrible majesty. That's why I say for the fair weather coming out of the north with terrible majesty. We just read, we just read in that's the reason why I say with terrible majesty, because we just read in Job chapter 37 and verse 9, it says, out of the south cometh whirlwinds and cold out of the north, right? And that's what that's what the north wind brings, cold weather, right? Dang. Yeah, it's cold on that moon, right? Uh, Shalaki. It said, touching the Almighty, we cannot find him out. His excellent power and judgment and and in plenty of justice he would not afflict. Men do therefore fear him. He respected not any that are wise heart. So I guess what the Lord said, if you wanna play those games, the Lord said he don't respect those people that's trying to play the game with him, man. Right? He literally trying to give us a blueprint on how we should supposed to be living. This is why, especially just kind of touching on this, we really want to make sure that uh we really want to make sure that we get our focal points on what we need to be trying to get our mind wrapped around, right? If we what you call it, people need to be trying to make sure they get their spirit together. Guess what? Checking their spirits about things, getting themselves together. Because we just had Feast of Dedication. We got Feast of Purim coming up. After Feast of Purim, then we got Passover coming up. Right? Okay. I'm gonna try it out, man. Cause I dang sure need some I dang sure need to check it out. Like for real though. I dang sure need to check it out. Like you say, going into this you say going into like you say, uh going into weather. And we know going into weather, it's 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 a easy it's a easy thing. It's an easy thing to conclude, especially like going into weather. Like you say it's an easy thing to conclude. Seeing that you say that this is the new year, how can something be new in the dead of the winter? Right? That's what makes no sense for us. Even though we read it, it still makes no sense, man. Yeah, it still makes no sense to us, man. Let's just go to and I'm pretty sure like a lot of them like supposed to be Christian warriors. I'm pretty sure they try. But I'm gonna tell you, we pray that they keep that spirit off of them, man. You fast and pray to look like that. Man, I thought everybody in the truth supposed to fast and pray. Everybody in the truth supposed to fast and pray. That's how we build our strength up, man. Because one thing about it, when you walking in the truth, it's so many trying things that you can go through in the truth, and you want to make sure that you taking the steps in the right direction, right? God want to make sure that. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3 and verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. So this is what we looking at, man. Everything has a season, right? But is this the season for the new year? No, it's not. Right? Watch this. Uh, so, yeah, so like you say, is this the time we supposed to be? Is this the time we supposed to be? Is this the time that we supposed to be going for our new year? We got to make sure we stay grounded. All right. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 61. Isaiah chapter 61. Watch this in verse 11. For as the earth bringeth forth buds, and as the garden causes things that are sown in it to spring forth, so is the Lord God will cause righteousness to spring forth before all the nations. Just like how the earth bringeth forth buds, meaning what? When does the earth bring forth buds? In the springtime, right? I just hope brothers and sisters can understand this is the Lord's doing. How they bring forth, uh, uh, how you bring forth, like you say, Shalaki. How you bring forth how the Lord bring forth this beautiful place that we supposed to call earth. We don't bring forth the beautiful place that we call earth in the dead of the winter. Right. The book of Genesis, chapter 8, and verse 22. While the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. So these are things that we know that the Lord said we going it's like dealing with season. This is what the Lord said we know we're gonna deal with. He said, while the earth remaineth, right? The Lord said we're gonna deal with what? We're gonna deal with seed time and harvest. That means it's gonna be a time to plant and a time to what harvest the seeds that you planted. Meaning, right? It's gonna be a time for cold weather, and it's gonna be a time for what? The earth to warm up for heat, right? Meaning summer and winter, right? And he explains the very next thing. Summer is for the heat, cold is for the winter. And another thing is not gonna cease, day and night. right? That's why we got to make sure that brothers and sisters that we keeping God's law, statutes, and commandments, and not leaning on our own understanding, right? Got to make sure that we doing it. So, uh, pray your brothers and sisters and have a good day at work, man. Uh, I know. I just ain't too long got off. So I'm sitting up here kind of tired in the mud, but pray for brothers and sisters strength, man, in this walk. We say. I know, like I said, I say I'm gonna start getting on. I don't care about how late I get off or how tired I be or whatever. I might start getting on here. Uh, you got to make sure I stay focused on it. Uh, it said follow God's law, statutes, and commandments. Pray, brothers and sisters, strength in these captivity, in these holidays that's going by. We want to make sure brothers supposed to be in the right spirit and to be kind of thinking and meditating on precepts that brothers and sisters that brothers be bringing out. We want brothers and sisters to be in the right spirit, in the right frame of mind, so we all can grow in this truth, right? Uh, Law we gonna go in today. Let me see. Yeah, let me see the law we gonna go in today. Watch this. All praise to the Most High. Uh, this is the law that we going into today. The book of Exodus, chapter 12, and verse 18. In the first month, let me see. Uh, 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 okay. The book of Exodus, chapter 12, and verse 1. It said, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year unto you. This is when we have our what? Passover. The Christians know when the Passover is. This is literally concerning the Passover. So when we talk about going into the Passover, the Lord said, This shall be your first month. Mm. We gonna see how they get it. And so when they try to play them games like that, that's when the Lord said they think to change times and think to change laws. Right? It's just why we can't get caught up in it. The book of Exodus, chapter 12, let's read verse 1. It said, And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. When is that? The first month of the year is during what? April, March, during Passover. And with that, we give our honor and praise to the Most High and the Son, Yahweh Shah. We say shalom.